Well, if everyone is ready, we'll go ahead and get started. First of all, good afternoon. I'm glad that everybody was able to make it here safely due to the world weather conditions, and I'm keeping my fingers crossed, probably similar to everyone else, that we don't get too much more of this white stuff. I'm Colonel James F. Grady II, Director of the Michigan State Police. I want to thank Director Washington from the Michigan Department of Corrections for inviting me today. Also for Chief Ruth for having us here at his facility to discuss Operation Safe Neighborhood and our efforts here in the city of Saginaw regarding, getting guns off the street. Today, we're here to announce that through the DOC's collaborative Operation Safe Neighborhood, 800 illegal firearms have been taken off the streets across the state, improving safety in countless communities across the state of Michigan, which is always great to hear. Initiatives like Operation Safe Neighborhood make a real tangible difference in our communities across Michigan. And by removing guns from individuals who cannot legally possess them, we're ensuring that they cannot be used to inflict violence against our neighbors and loved ones. Our troopers see the deadly results daily and the devastating impacts involving illegal guns and the impact that it also has negatively in the communities across our state. Nearly 1 in 3 reported violent crimes in the state of Michigan involve a firearm, and we want to do all that we can to prevent any further gun violence. Let me assure you that the Michigan State Police is committed to doing whatever we can to combat these crimes here in Saginaw and throughout Michigan. But I will tell you, as a reminder, we can't do it all by ourselves in this profession. We need members of the community to step up and do their part. If you see something, say something. If you're a youth and you're in a school, you need to utilize resources like OK to Say. We have other outlets like 1-800-MISH-TIP that you can provide information anonymously, so it gives law enforcement professionals an opportunity to address those issues and make sure that we can maintain safety in the schools, in your communities, in your churches, every day where we live at here in Michigan. We want you to be safe, but we really need your help in making sure that we do that. Again, through continued cooperation with our law enforcement partners, with MDOC, and again, our partnerships within the community, we can work together to reduce gun violence and better protect our neighborhoods across the state. And I just got to say real quick, gun violence, based on several articles that I've read here over the last year, has been the leading cause of death for youth. We need to make sure, again, we all do our part in reducing that. So thank you for being here. And I am sincerely looking forward to working with everyone. Next up here on the mic, I'd like to introduce Department of Corrections Director, Ms. Heidi Washington.
Thank you. Thank you, Colonel Grady. Thank you for being here. Thank you to everybody in the room, all of our partners, our agents. I want to give a special shout out to Walt Weisapel, who is the embedded agent with the Michigan Department of Corrections, embedded in the Saginaw Police Department, and Fabian Levine, who is the supervisor for the Saginaw Parole Office. I want to thank everybody, our law enforcement partners from Michigan State Police to local police, and of course, our very own Michigan Department of Corrections staff working together every day to get illegal guns off the street. As you heard from Colonel Grady, this marks 800 guns that have been taken, illegal guns that have been taken out of our communities. And in addition to that, we've also confiscated other types of contraband and illegal drugs through this program, Operation Safe Neighborhoods. Since this program started in 2022, the Michigan Department of Corrections has completed over 7,500 home calls with our law enforcement partners, which has resulted in about 1,200 arrests. Our message is clear. If you are in possession of illegal weapons, we will come and we will work together with our law enforcement partners to find you and hold you accountable. I'm proud of the work that the department has done. I am proud of the work that the department will continue to do to make our communities safer, working together with anybody who wants to work with us to get guns off the street and to ensure that our citizens are safe. And with that, I will thank our host, Chief Ruth from the Saginaw Police Department, and invite Chief Ruth to come up to the podium. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I want to thank all of our partners that help us solve crimes in the city of Saginaw. I want to thank everyone from the Michigan State Police, Michigan Department of Corrections. We've had an embedded agent here at our department for the last 13 years. You don't know what that partnership does for us here. It gives our detectives, MSP's detectives, somebody to work with where we can get that connection, to work with the individuals that have been either on parole or in prison and out on parole in our community. And everyone has to remember, we can't do this alone. We can't arrest our way out of these problems that we're having in society. People have to step up. They have to start to educate their loved ones to put the guns down. If you don't put the guns down, there are consequences for your actions, and we will be coming. We'll be looking for you. And if you have a gun, you will get locked up. Again, I want to thank all of our partners that we work with here at the Saginaw Police Department to help solve crime in the city of Saginaw and make our citizens safer. Thank you. Does anyone have any questions?
Yeah, how do you get the person who's scared to give a tip? What would you tell that person?
They can go through Crime Stoppers. There's several different venues. We have several organizations in town like HELP, which a lot of you are familiar with, that they can contact members of that group who can get a direct contact with our police department. Just like the Colonel mentioned, there's several other groups out there that you can contact, especially with the school systems, and it's okay to say programs like that.
Any idea how many illegal guns are within the city limits of Saginaw right now?
I couldn't tell you how many illegal guns there are, but there's quite a few. I'm sure just like there is all over the state of Michigan. That's one of our biggest problems is guns. And it's been one of our biggest problems for a long time. Unfortunately, a lot of youth get guns in their hands. They think it's cool to carry a gun. They don't know how to use them. And one of our biggest problems in society is they just do not know how to control their attitude when it comes to anger management. They don't know how to deal with conflict and conflict resolution. And the first thing they do is pull a gun out, and they feel that's the best way to resolve something. We've got to teach our young people in society there's a better way than going to violence and going to a gun in your hand. They have to learn to work out differences between one another in a different fashion.
And hopefully this doesn't sound like a dumb question, but how are these illegal guns getting into Saginaw in the first place?
They come here always. People are breaking into homes to steal them. People are addicted to opioids and other type of illegal drugs. They can steal a gun from their grandparents up north, break into a house out in the thumb, anywhere. They'll steal a gun and they'll come in here and trade for drugs. And then the guns just circulate all over the place. That's the easiest and simplest way that the guns are coming in. And that's not just here in Saginaw. That's everywhere. It happens like that all across the United States.
Are there plans to keep this program going?
I'm thinking that this program is going strong. It's been going strong with us for quite a while, and we're going to continue with it. Michigan Department of Corrections has dedicated an agent to work in our department, embedded here for years. I would hope that continues in the future. The partnership that we have with Michigan State Police is tremendous. We all work together as a partner. I'd be remiss if I didn't mention also the ATF, the Secret Service, the FBI, our bayonet drug unit. We have several agencies working here within the city of Saginaw to help keep people safe. And I'm extremely proud of my officers and detectives also here in the city of Saginaw and the hard work and dedication that they have at keeping our citizens safe.
What's the trend line here? Are you, year by year, are you getting more and more? I mean, are you seeing that the number of weapons being seized is rising or falling?
It's been decreasing over the years. I've been here for 31 years, and it is about half of what it used to be when I first started here. Every year, it's going down. Overall, Part 1 crime last year versus the year before went down 5%. So far this year, we're about 10% down over last year at this time. We're seeing a decrease, but we still have to be vigilant. Our shootings are way down. However, our homicides are up slightly. People have to put the guns down and find another way to resolve conflict rather than go into a gun. 25, 30 years ago, it was a fist fight. Now it's right to the gun and somebody ends up dead. It's just not the way it should be.
Is this program at least partly responsible for the decrease in the number of weapons?
Oh, it is all day long. They went out and got a gun off the street yesterday with somebody who was on probation. They had an assault rifle. And the agents from MDOC and our officers, along with Michigan State Police, went out and seized the gun. Now that individual is going to hopefully go back to prison. You make bad choices in life, you're going to suffer the consequences. That's what we're trying to tell people.
Colonel, basically the same question. Is Saginaw typical in what it's seeing here, that it's been getting guns off the streets and we're seeing fewer guns being confiscated because of that?
Well, I mean, I think it's a number of things, and that's why it's so important. I agree with everything the chief just alluded to. We've got to educate our youth better, work with them in schools, make them understand that, again, when you start talking about conflict resolution, there's a better way of doing it. We're keeping our eye on everything. We're working. We got a ton of collaborative efforts out there across the state with our locals, with MSP, with MDLC, with our federal partners. But again, I'd be remiss if I didn't, again, continue to regurgitate how important it is for the members in the community to let us know, because we will not always be there. We don't know everything in this profession. And let's just be honest, that some of the issues that we see in this state with violence, it goes a lot deeper than just, with law enforcement and our resources, how we can provide those resources. There are other resources that are needs. We know that we've seen a lot of mental issues that need to be addressed in this state. And so, I think that there are some other things with gun safety that we can talk about when we start talking about a youth getting a hold of a weapon and hurting themselves or someone else in the household. That's why we have the partnerships with the Michigan Department of Health and Human Services with gun locks. I'm sure Chief Ruth will provide you with a gun lock. MSP, the poster across the state, we will provide you with a gun lock. MDHHS has different locations throughout the state that will provide you with a gun lock. These are things that we have to do to reduce gun violence in the state of Michigan. And we just have to keep our foot on the gas and be aggressive in our actions to ensure, again, that every community is safe across the state of Michigan.
And is this a statewide program or is this unique to Saginaw?
It's a statewide. We've got it happening in other cities as well. We did this in Kalamazoo last year. Flint, we did a press conference similar to this in Flint as well. Just kind of remembering some of the press conferences we've done over the last several months. And so it's wonderful. I think that we're doing this. I think it shows the collaboration across the state, and that there's problems like this everywhere. Sometimes you might think that it's just in an urban area. No, there are issues in some of our rural areas as well. In our suburban areas, this is just a problem, period. And that's why before I walked away from the stage, I'm like, across the country, gun violence is a huge issue. So it takes all of us to do our part to reduce it.
And again, other cities, like the ones you've mentioned, they're seeing similar declines in the number of weapons being confiscated through this program?
All I will tell you is that people are putting in the work to make sure that we reduce those numbers. That I will tell you, the effort is there. But again, we can't do it without the help of the members from the community. You're always going to hear me say that because we need them to effectively do our job.
Does anyone have any idea, rough estimate about how many illegal guns can be tied to homicides? Like a percentage, say there were 20 homicides in Saginaw, 15 were illegal guns. I'm just using an example. Do you have any idea on that?
Well, I gave a little bit of information earlier in my talking points, right? I think 1 out of 3 of violent crimes, you've got a gun involved. That says a lot in itself, right? And so again, we just have to keep doing everything that we've discussed in today's press conference. But more importantly, people need to know that they have an avenue, they have a pipeline, they have a way to get a hold of us to let us know. We don't want to see, another act of violence happen in the community or at a school that we've seen over the last couple of years here in the state of Michigan. So we need people to step up and say something. That really does help us. It can help us reduce what we're seeing as far as our numbers here in Michigan.
I could ask you a question about patrols too in Saginaw. I know there was a media report out maybe a month ago that stirred up some concern here in Saginaw. What is your future regarding patrols here in Saginaw moving forward?
Well, the only thing I would tell you is this. The MSP has had a long-standing partnership here in the city of Saginaw with the Saginaw Police Department and working with the members here in the community. We will continue that. That is my answer today in regards to your question.
Chief, the earlier question about how often an illegal gun is used in a crime,
I couldn't give you any stats on that.
just a guesstimate though, is it maybe